Y'all see the tournament. Let's get to it.
Pippen gets it to Jordan. Michael challenges and slams.
Starting off.
Wasn't there. Michael in on top.
It's a GOAT video.
Well, good day to y'all. How's it going? My name is Sean David, and I welcome you back to the Basketball Time Machine, your weekly dose of old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to give you my personal take on why the debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, who's the GOAT, doesn't make sense at all, in my opinion. But before we start with that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoy the content. All right, you guys, let's go for it.
Same here. That's a fact. Yeah, straight to it.
Greatest players to have ever. LeBron James is on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. One of the greatest players to have ever played the game. No doubt about it. He has exceeded expectation, and I have nothing but respect, profound respect for the greatness of LeBron James. I have told you before, he never was, he never has been, nor will he ever be greater than Michael Jordan. It will not happen. It's not even a debate for me.
No, I just think that, we play in different eras. He's an unbelievable player. He's one of the best players in the world.
Yo.
Best player in the world. I know it's a natural tendency to compare eras to eras.
This is a GOAT. This is something that a GOAT would say. This is very humble. You understand? This is what I don't understand with LeBron. He don't talk like this. He don't have that humility about himself that could take himself out the situation and really just talk from a shit crazy.
I know it's a natural tendency to compare eras to eras. And it's going to continue to happen. I'm a fan of his. I love watching him play. But it's as you can see, our league is starting to expand on very talented players. And I think he's made his mark. He will continue to do so over a period of time. But when you start the comparisons, I think it is what it is.
So what is it? I think we know what it is, y'all. I ain't gonna lie.
So I'm pretty sure that most of you guys expect the video with me saying something like, hey, you can't compare eras, that's why you can't say who's better, Jordan or LeBron James. And this is where I respectfully have to say the following. First of all, I think you can compare eras. And I know that this is probably a very exclusive opinion, and I'm pretty sure that not everybody will agree, but again, this is my personal take, and please hear me out. Now, I think when you watch NBA basketball for 30 years, 40 years, or even 25 years or something like that, then you basically gain a lot of knowledge. And if you really study the game, then you can see that certain things develop, certain habits develop. And don't tell me, for example, that you don't agree on the following. Would you agree that NBA players today shoot the basketball better? In my opinion, it's a clear yes. I think the overall basketball player in today's game is a way better shooter. Why? Well, the emphasis in practice and in games with shooting is just so much bigger. If you see videos of NBA practices and stuff, or hear
there's kids out here practicing 3-pointers, fourth graders, third graders, first graders. They trying to shoot threes like Curry. That's what they saw, man.
Interviews. Players nowadays, they don't practice the same way that they used to do in the 80s and 90s. They more shoot and work on their form and those things. So it's natural that certain things, once you practice them more than in the past, that they get better than the past. So today's players are better shooter. Is defense better in today's game? I would say no, and I can explain even to you new school NBA fans, I can explain why. Now, defense has a lot to do with mindset, attitude, and just your general way how you approach the game. Back in the days, especially
effort. A way to sum that all up is just effort. Defense is effort. And a lot of these kids don't want to put effort in on the defensive end.
The 80s and 90s, the game was way more defensively minded, which means players said, and this is no bashing today's players, but players had a little bit more pride in defense, which means nobody wanted to get embarrassed. Players had more of this mindset like mano a mano, man against man.
I mean, I feel like back then they probably didn't care if they got embarrassed too much. They just wouldn't allow it. You understand? I feel like nowadays they care too much about getting embarrassed. That's why they scared to compete for real. They scared to go at it on defense. They scared to really play defense because they scared they won't get their shit broke. And then, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a whole meme on Twitter or something. Which is probably true. You know? But that's what you got to live with, King. You making millions. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. Like, I don't understand.
I don't want this guy to score on me. They would take it personal if somebody would dunk on them or shoot a basket against them. And even those, good example, like with the shot blockers back in the day, you had guys who would contest dunks way more often than it is today. Not because players were not afraid of being on a poster. Of course, players did not like to be on a poster back in the days, but it was more the pride and the mindset.
Okay.
And today, the game is way more offensively minded, which means players rather score than defend. And so to me, it's a clear case of defense is way weaker today. So I think it's easy. Not easy, but it's not so difficult to compare eras. I can see things that are better today and things which were a lot better back in the days. Now, when we talk about Michael Jordan and LeBron James and compare certain things, now, the one thing when it comes to who's the better offensive player, to me, it's not even a question. For those of you, for the younger folks who haven't seen NBA basketball back in the days or who has never played basketball, yes, in today's game, the ball handling is a lot better and players can handle the rock a lot crazier than back in the days. But I tell you what, if these players today would have the hand checking and the same defense as the guys had from back in the days, they also wouldn't be doing all those crazy moves.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Because I remember when I was younger, bro. I remember when I was younger, you know what I'm saying, at the YMCA, playing with the older heads. They were playing with the older heads because, you know, you play with your age group a lot, you know what I'm saying? You do whatever you want. You be killing. Because I was killing. You know what I'm saying? I was one of them. Yeah, I was one of them. So I was killing. But now I'm playing with the old heads. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do the same moves. They fake push me off my pin. I can't really, you know what I'm saying? I can't really get the same shit off. I'm trying to tell you something. Like, I really couldn't get the same shit off because they pushing me. They got that forearm on me. Word of my life. I'm trying to hit them up. I'm like, oh shit, losing my balance. So he's right. He's correct.
Everybody who played basketball back in the days knows that when you get hand checked and you have really somebody penetrating you defensively and really harassing you, it is hard to do certain moves. And Michael Jordan back in the days had the hand checking, which was so hard to score on. You had every team had at least one or two shot blockers. So we're talking about huge giants whose primary job was to be the anchor on defense to kill everybody who was penetrating the paint. And I have a very interesting fact for you. If you go on basketballreference.com and you check how many blocks per game the average NBA player had in the 80s and the 90s, and you compare it to today's NBA, I can tell you that the difference is so huge. You had guys back then who would block, who had 5 blocks a game, 5 blocks a game, 5 blocks, 4 blocks a game. And now, the best shot blocker averages like 2.5 blocks. Why? Well, they aren't real rim protectors. And Jordan used to score on those.
And I don't even feel like it's just that, though. I feel like people are just attacking the rim a lot less, you know? And people are just less incentivized to be around the rim, you understand? You know, obviously, this era is going to be, even if it was how back then was with the defense, they will still be a little less. I'm saying what contributes to that is also the fact that the floor is spaced to the fucking hash. You understand? They spacing the floor like crazy nowadays, so it's really hard to be everywhere. You understand? So that goes to
those rim protectors all the time. On Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, Robert Parrish, all of those guys. So then another thing offensively, we don't have to talk about the fact that LeBron James's body is like the best NBA body of all time, no question. And I know I sometimes come across like I dislike LeBron James. I don't dislike the guy. I think he's a phenomenal player. But to me, it always bothers me if people say that he's better than Michael Jordan, because that to me always indicates like you really haven't seen Jordan play and you haven't studied the game carefully. Then another...
And I can say that might be a fact, bro. I can't even say might. That's a fact, bro. Because once I'm starting to really research and dive in, bro. I was a heavy LeBron GOAT guy, you know, for a minute. And I couldn't change over. I'm like, yo, y'all chat, y'all bugging, you know. But as you start to research and really see what was going on in during the hardships, you understand, during the hardships of LeBron's career, and then during the hardships of Michael Jordan's career, once they got through that, Mike stayed on top, got on top and stayed on top. You understand? With the stats, with the accolades, and he has better stats and accolades than Bron, in my opinion. You understand? In less time. So he basically did more in less time, while being more dominant, while being on top for longer. You understand? That's just, I had to give it up. You know?
Tiny thing. Again, this is for you hardcore fans who really study the game. Back in the days, you also had the no easy basket rule, which means that even when a player goes to the basket and you already know that
the real root cause of snoring is not what you think. Did you know that snoring has nothing to do with nasal
Great.
He will dunk the ball and he will score, you would still foul him. You would still contest the shot, foul him, try to block him. You make life for him difficult, at least 2 or 3 times a game.
Right.
Nowadays, you see that players don't go for that anymore. If somebody blows you by and they're about to shoot a layup or a dunk, you just let them. You don't even contest them. So you allow players to have another 2, 4, 6 points, which you did not
just
back
the effort's
then.
not there, bro. That's really it's the effort, bro. The effort's not there a lot of the times.
So
I just like high intensity, you know, a lot of effort, gritty, grimy basketball, bro. You understand?
overall, offensively, if you have a player like Michael Jordan who averages between...
Even when it's gritty and grimy, you're going to get the highlight plays still. For the people that want the highlight plays, you're going to get that still. Because it's gritty and grimy. You know what I'm saying? They playing up, they playing hard defense, they playing aggressive defense. You might get somebody get their shit broken, you know? So you're going to get the highlight plays still. That's why I understand why people just can't settle for intense basketball.
30 and 37 points a game in an era where you had so many more obstacles defensively, in a defensively minded game. We don't have to talk about LeBron James in today's game still averaging 25 points a game. It's just such a huge difference defensively. Now, before we get to the defensive part, another thing that always is kind of interesting to me, and a certain thing that many people overlook, is many people say, yeah, LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer and all those things. What many people forget, and to me, I don't understand why. You guys have to remember, not only did Michael Jordan retire in his prime to sit out 1.5 years to play another half a year of where he averaged like 26 points, where he just wasn't in basketball shape. But you also have to remember, when he retired for the second time, he had a break of 3 years, came back and still averaged over 20 points. Now, of course, LeBron James is sensational that he's still averaging 20 plus points at almost the age of 40. But just imagine what Jordan would have been like if he would have not had retired. If you have a break of 3 years of a sport and you come back, there's no way, especially when you're at that age, that you can regain or recapture the same level. It's impossible. The fact that Jordan was still able to average more than 20 points after a 3-year break in his mid to late 30s is incredible. And there's not even a question if Jordan would be the all-time leading scorer if he had not retired. So just from a logical point, Jordan retired, missed 4.5 seasons. LeBron James entered the NBA earlier, is playing in a defensively weaker era. Of course he has the scoring record over Michael Jordan. Anyway, defensively, pretty easy, pretty short. How many Defensive Player of the Year awards did LeBron James win? Yes, none. Jordan, 1. Great. Was that something typical for a shooting guard back in the day? No. Back in the day, shooting guards did not, or guards in general, did not win the award that often. Hardly at all. Then, Does LeBron
That's my
James
point,
in
bro. I
his
said the
early
accolades.
30s
Come on, bro.
challenge the best player
Like,
on the
you wanna go
opposing
to
team
accolades in less
defensively?
time.
No, hardly. And yes, it also has something to do with the coaching, what the coaching strategy is. But Jordan really wanted to have the best player, even though he had Scottie Pippen on his team. Yeah, and still they were fighting about who could guard the greatest player on the opposing team. Yeah, Jordan was a way better defender. And if you're looking at the complete basketball package of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, Michael Jordan, especially because of defense, is the way more complete player. Now, accolades. Yes, LeBron James made it to the finals so many times, and yes, LeBron James won a couple of championships, but hey, LeBron James made it to the finals so many times. Why? Because he was playing in the weakest era of the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference teams were terrible in his period, and it's.
I think. Well, I wouldn't say terrible, but there's definitely some truth to that, because it just, the fact that you get to face a Western Conference team and often lose, it just shows that you really your team wasn't the best in the NBA. You know. And you was running through the weaker side, you know. And if he was in the West for some of those years, it probably would have been maybe a few finals, but he probably lost a lot in the Western Conference, you know, semifinals.
Not LeBron James's fault, but it's just the fact the teams were terrible. It was not so difficult to make it to the finals. You had like 2-3 teams that you had to get out of the way, and in Jordan's era, sorry, but you had at least 5 to 6 teams you really had to beat. Yeah? And then those years where LeBron James won the championship, please just take a look at it.
I'm saying that shit that's a fact, bro. Like we've seen it in all if you look at the amount of 60-win teams Jordan faced, the percentage is higher than LeBron's. Same with 50-win teams. You know, we've seen the video. We've done a lot of research. You understand? It's not a debate at this point, bro. It's not a debate. Ron has to do some more to make it a debate again. Because right now it's not a debate, bro. It's not. But let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Click on the last reaction, turn on post notifications, like the video, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Hey, Ma.